Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Frank here, working again on the Cub Cadet Mini bulldozer build. Here's what it looks like right now. Got the idler on the front, drive sprocket on the rear, tension wheel up here, got a piece of chain wrapped around it, working on building and installing the bogies, which will be under this, what I'm calling the box beam right here. So that's the next thing. Eventually, after we get those bogies on, we will have to take this frame off and weld up the laterals here, run across to the box beam. I've got partial weld on them, but we need to turn it upside down and finish welding that horizontal. Okay, all right, so the task now is to put together the rest of the bogie carriers. That bearings coming out right and left. That's not packaged very well, but it does show that the roller bearings are not greased, so I do need to do that before we run them. Alright, well, these are the rest of the bogie wheels. Let's see if I got 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 2. Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Alright, so I'm missing one wheel and one roller bearing and one sleeve. Crap. So my long-awaited shipment of caster wheels for the bogies has finally arrived, and looks like I got my Brutus here being a good boy, huh? My good puppies. And of course there's Butchie coming around getting some loving too. Okay, so my shipment of bogie wheels, the caster wheels, arrived, and I got 19 wheels, and then one of them's missing the roller bearing and sleeve and rubber end cap, and the other one's missing a rubber end cap. I think the rest are complete. So each of these wheels has a sleeve and a roller bearing. So that's what's missing. So I just called them, and they're really nice. It's the caster guy in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I think. He said he'd ship out the other parts today, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna start putting some of these together. All right, so that's 4 of the 5 additional bogie carriers that I need. I can start welding these up. I have to wait till I get the additional wheels to build the last one. All right, so I think I figured out the duty cycle on my welder. I've already exceeded its duty cycle, welding up these 3 bogey carriers. So I think this new 240 volt or welder is doing a lot better than the 120 volt welder I had been using. Okay, I gotta let the welder cool off. We'll come back. Let the welder cooled down in about 5 minutes, and I finished welding up the 4th bogey carrier. I thought I had the camera turned on for that one, but I didn't. So that's about it. That's all I can do tonight. I gotta let this stuff cool. I'll come back and tomorrow I need to drill holes in the angle, these angle irons, which attach to the top. So these angle irons will get welded to the top here, and they'll fit on either side of the box beam. But I need to drill the holes through them. So I've got 10, 20 holes to drill. So I'll do that tomorrow on the mill, and we'll come back for that. Meanwhile, I'm going to let the welder cool off. So it's definitely got warm. All right, we'll come back. All right, got to drill the holes in the angle iron brackets that will hold the bogey carriers to the box beam. So I've got the drill set up here with the angle iron in the vise on the mill, and I'm just going to set each piece of angle iron in here flush with the end of the vise. We'll drill a hole, then we'll set it, and then drill the other end. So I've got 10 pieces of angle iron here to drill. All right, I just got these pieces of angle out of the parts washer. Try to get the oil off of them. I'm going to use this spare piece of rectangular tubing to space these brackets, make sure I've got them spaced correctly. This first one I welded up is a little loose, but I'm going to tack this on here and then we'll test it against the wood spacer that I made. So this shows the wood spacer is pretty tight. So part of that is the tacks have, you know, lifted the angle iron up a little bit. I should probably tack it in the corners as opposed to on these edges here. That's a good fit. Last thing I want to do is weld these up and have them not fit, so. I'm going to take a hair off of this. All right, I think my plan is to use the spacer to space it, tack the first one, put it on the box beam, tack the other one. So just checking that against the box beam, make sure it fits before I weld it up. Alright, so I'm sure some professional welder is going to find fault with that. I think it looks okay. This last one down here. All right, so those 5 bogey carriers are complete. Let's see if we can set one on the frame here. I've got the chain wrapped around the wheels, and I've got the tension wheel lowered so that I can see in the loose position how many links, track links I need. And it looks like I can pull this down to here, pull them together, and I will have some slack here that I can take up by lifting this wheel more vertical. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and these links are all swaged together, so what I need to do is just grind one end here, knock the pin out, put the pin through here, and then I can spot weld it to here. The pin doesn't have to rotate. There are roller bearings here, and the inside link moves, so this can be welded to this pin, to this link, without any, causing any problems. So that's the next thing I got to do. Take this pin out, fasten it here. All right, so I'm going to put this tension wheel back on the tractor and block it up so that I can locate the pivot hole. All right, so I think this is the low position for the tension wheel. And then let me just check the chain length for this position, and then it will pivot up to tighten the track. All right, so that basically works right there. Let me get a punch to put through there and hold it. So the whole reason for fussing about this is once the track length is decided, then I depend on this wheel pivoting. So it has to pivot in the right place, and it has to pivot enough to increase the distance to tighten up the track. So, all right, I'm going to try to pivot it up and just see how it goes. All right, so that's telling me I need another 2 links in the track. I need to be able to pivot this to almost vertical position. All right, I think I've got the chain and the tension wheel set up in the proper position. I went ahead and drilled through the box beam and I just drilled a 1/2 inch hole and put a 1/2 inch rod through there. There's going to be a 3/4 inch bolt going through the bottom of the tensioner arm, and then I've got I think the chain the right length, and it can go back a little bit further and tighten the chain up even more, but it can come all the way down and make it loose enough to just lift the chain right off. The chain will clear the wheel and can come off of the tractor. So I think I've finally, arrived at the proper chain length, and this is kind of a milestone. See I've got the bogey carriers on the bottom. I think they're going to be fine. This one can go back a couple inches further, and of course the tension wheel can pivot down. Let's get the top link. So this is the top link. They'll be used to tension, and it'll run, approximately, in this position here. So there'll be a bracket and pin up at this end, and a bracket and pin down at this end, and it'll hold that. So then twisting this is like a giant turnbuckle, and we'll put tension and allow tensioning the chain, and then there's a jam nut here to lock it in position. All right, I'm pretty happy with this right now. I think, I've been kind of sweating. I've been sweating the details on, making sure that this would work out, that there would be a length of chain which I would be able to tension and detension with this tension wheel and this arrangement. So I think this is kind of a milestone, a mental milestone, a physical milestone to get to this point. Because now, the rest of the work is kind of downhill, because now it's just assembly of, I don't need to worry about the geometry of the track and the arrangement of the wheels, sprocket, that sort of thing anymore. I do need to, of course, change this out from just the 1/2 inch pin, which I have going through here now, to a 3/4 inch bolt. So I need to enlarge the 2 holes. I'll need a couple of spacers, about 1/2 inch spacers between this frame and here. I need to fully weld up this web member here, and I'm also thinking about stiffeners on the outside of here. I don't know that I'll need them. Once I get this web welded up fully, I think it's going to be plenty stiff, but if I need to add stiffeners there, because this is 18 inches away from here, this arm is, has to be stiff. And I will also, the way I welded these rings around to the tensioner wheel plate to give some more bearing surface, I'm going to do the same thing down here. I've got some 3/4 inch spacer rings like this, which will get welded to the box beam and give more bearing surface for the pivot bolt. Okay, I'm happy with this. It's kind of a relief to finally see this, come to fruition here. All right, so next thing is I'm going to go ahead and drill these holes out to 3/4 and weld on the, I may not be able to get 3/4 behind it. I have to see if I can reach 3/4 inch drill behind that beam, between the beam and the frame. All right, guys, that's all the time we have this week on the Cub Cadet Dozer build. Made a lot of progress. Reached kind of a milestone, which is determining the chain length. And there's my Butchie boy. He's come to check it out. What do you think, Butchie? You think that will work? Yeah, what a good boy. All right. All right, where's Brew Brew? There's the Brutus. There's Brutus. There's Brutus. He's such a good boy, too. Such a good boy. All right. You guys, good puppies. All right, so like I said, I reached kind of a milestone here, determining the actual chain length, which will then is also the track length. And I can figure out how many track pads I need. I haven't actually counted it yet, but I've got the track tensioner in position, got the bogies on, and the chain configured for this arrangement. So we'll come back next week working on the track tension, the other track tensioner, welding it up, welding the adjustment, drilling out the holes for the support arm, and you know, after we get that set and the other side done and the chain cut to length for the other side, then the next thing is going to be pulling the, I believe the next thing is going to be pulling the box, the track frame off the tractor, which is the U-bolts. There's a series of U-bolts going through the frame plate, which hold these three laterals to the main frame of the tractor. Unbolt those. The bogies are not currently attached, but once we get that frame off, I can finish welding the laterals to it, and then I can mark for the bogies, drill the holes for the bogies to bolt on, work on the hole for the tensioner arm, and reinforce that hole in the frame. And we got the, let's put this on, see what this looks like here. All right, so that's the, I call it a vanity plate, but what it does is it covers the sprocket. I got this light over here. Get this light. All right, so there you get a better view of what the arrangement will look like. Of course, there's no track pads on the track at this point, but you can see the vanity plate covering the sprocket over here, so the wheels look the same. This, of course, is the idler up here, and then the tensioner up here. We'll come back next week with, you know, basically setting the same thing up on the other side, and hopefully get the track frame off and finish that up. And then once we get that back on, it's on to making the track pads and assembling that stuff. So closing in on it. All right, appreciate everybody watching. Leave some comments if you got any questions or comments. I like the comments. We'll see you guys next time.